And I am the chair of the Boston City Council's Committee on Planning, Development, and Transportation. In accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, modifying certain requirements of open meeting law and relieving public bodies of certain requirements, including the requirement that public bodies conduct its meetings in public places that are open and physically accessible to the public, the City Council will be conducting this hearing virtually via Zoom. The hearing is being recorded. It is also being live streamed at boston.gov/city-council-TV and broadcast on Xfinity Channel 8, RCN Channel 82, and FiOS Channel 964. Written comments may be sent to the committee email at ccc.plandev@boston.gov and will be made part of the record and available to all counselors. Public testimony will be taken at the end of the hearing. Individuals that will be called in order of arrival and in order in which they signed up, and will have 2 minutes to testify. If you wish to sign up for public testimony and have not done so, please email our central staff liaison, Shane Pack, at shane.pac@boston.gov for the Zoom link, and your name will be added to the list. Today's hearing is on docket 0866, message and order confirming the reappointment of Hansi Better Baranza as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals for a term expiring May 1, 2027. Docket 1690, message and order confirming the confirmation of the appointment of Brian Woods as a member of the Zoning Commission for a term expiring October 26, 2026. Docket number 1691. Message in order for the confirmation of the reappointment of Michael Nichols as a member of the Zoning Commission for a term expiring October 1, 2027. Docket 1704, message in order for the confirmation of appointment of David Marr as a member of the Zoning Commission for a term expiring November 1st, 2026. Docket number 1692, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Amit Diniath as an alternate member of the study committee to prepare the report for a potential designation of the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. Docket 1693, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Sanam Kamia as a member of the study committee to prepare the report for a potential designation of the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. Docket 1694, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Svati Samaha as a member of the study committee to prepare the report for a potential designation of the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. Docket 1696, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Lindsay Mack Jones as a member of the study committee to prepare the report for a potential designation of the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. Docket 1697, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Jeffrey Gagnon as a member of the study committee to prepare a report for the potential designation of a Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. Docket 1698, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Linda Nashiam as a member of the study committee to prepare a report for the potential designation of a Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. Docket 1699, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Julie Hall as a member of the study committee to prepare a report for the potential designation of the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. And docket 1700, message in order for the confirmation of Ian Urquhart as a member of the study committee to prepare a report for the potential designation of the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. Docket 1701, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Crystal Galvin as a member of the study committee to prepare a report for the potential designation of the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. Docket 1702, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Nancy Johnson as a member of the study committee to prepare a report for the potential designation of the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. And docket 1703, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Intaya Ambrogi and Zada as a member of the study committee to prepare a report for the potential designation of the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. Today, I am joined by my colleagues in order of arrival, Councillor Ed Flynn and Councillor Aaron Murphy. I don't see anyone else on right now, but I will update everyone. I do have an absence letter from Councillor Gigi Coletta Zapata, and I'll read this into the record. Re-absence on hearing dockets 0866, 1624, and 1690 to 1704. Dear Chair Durkin and Council colleagues, I regret to inform you that I will be absent from today's Boston City Council hearing on the dockets mentioned, a hearing regarding various appointments. A portion of today's hearing involves my district, specifically the potential designation of a study group for the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District, for which confirmation will be sought from the Boston City Council. I must express my surprise at how suddenly this hearing was noticed. My office was not involved in the scheduling of this hearing, as was the discretion of the committee chair. I believe that both the nominees and the community should have received adequate notice of this hearing, especially since nominations will also be put forward for citywide positions such as the Zoning Board of Appeal and the Zoning Commission. Additionally, I understand that the community has been requesting a Monument Square architectural conservation study for the past 2 years. It is important for the public to understand that today's nominations are for the participation of the study group, not for the commission itself. There will be ample opportunities for those passionate about historic preservation to remain involved in the process and as it progresses. A member of my staff will be listening in and I will review the recording. Kindly read this letter into the record. Sincerely, Gabriela Coletta Zapata, Boston City Council, District 1. Okay, so now that I've read all these dockets into the record, I'd like to pass it to my colleagues for opening statements, starting with Councilor Ed Flynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no opening statement.
Thank you so much, Councilor Flynn. Councilor Ann Murphy?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I will read my communication that I had submitted, which is connected to the appointments of new committee members. So a few weeks ago, I did put this communication in through the council agenda after speaking with the administration to make sure going forward there was we were ensuring transparency in the appointment and replacement process for city appointees. Dear colleagues, I'm writing to follow up on an important issue regarding the process for appointing and replacing city appointees. As you know, the City Council plays a vital role in confirming appointments to various boards and commissions across Boston. However, it has become clear that there are significant gaps in transparency when it comes to understanding who is being replaced when we approve a new appointee. Currently, the council is often asked to approve a new appointee without being informed about who, if anyone, they are replacing. In some cases, appointees may be serving well beyond their original term, and in other cases, the council is unaware of whether the new appointee is filling a vacancy or replacing an existing member. This lack of clarity can lead to confusion and unintended consequences, particularly when appointees are not informed that their term has ended or that they will not be reappointed. This is not just about any one individual or appointment. It is about ensuring that we have a clear, transparent process in place for all appointees going forward. When the council is asked to approve new appointments, we must be provided with all the relevant information, including who is being replaced and the reason for the change. This will ensure that the process is respectful of those who have served and that we avoid situations where appointees are unknowingly being displaced. I have filed a hearing order, docket 1399, to review and improve these procedures. The intent of this hearing was to ensure that we have a clear system in place to notify the City Council and appointees alike when someone is being replaced. The goal is not to question the mayor's authority to make appointments or to remove individuals whose terms have expired, but rather to ensure that the process is transparent and that the appointees are treated with respect and dignity throughout their service to the city. I have been assured, which I think is important today, and I'm assuming that the chair does have this information for us, but I was assured by the administration that moving forward, when new appointees are brought before the City Council for approval, we will be informed of it in advance of who, if anyone, is being replaced. This is an important step in making sure we are all on the same page when these decisions are made, and that no appointee is left in the dark about the end of their service. As we look ahead to today, because today we're having a hearing, I ask for your support. So I'm going to end there, but glad to be on this hearing, glad to hear from those who are going to speak in support. I did just also want to flag, and maybe the chair will bring this up, I'm not sure, Chair, but I did receive an email, a couple emails, but one from a resident, Erin Woods in Charlestown. So at some point, maybe she's on here to give public testimony, but when it's my turn for questions, I can read that into the record if necessary. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilor Murphy. And I know, I just want to go on a little bit about our process that we've had at the Planning, Development, and Transportation Committee since I've taken over as chair. I think it's really important that we see all of our nominees and our appointees in person or on Zoom before we move them forward for appointment. I know that we've been doing these hearings mostly quarterly, and because the city council calendar has been so locked up, this date opened up on Wednesday after a grant was approved. Before it was, so there was some time. I didn't have much time to really get this together, but I know I was awaiting and trying to find a date for this particular hearing. So I'm so excited that that those that have been appointed have been able to show up today. And so while I appreciate, everyone's feedback about how it feels like some of this is late notice, we know that our last meeting of the year is this Wednesday, December 11th. So I thought it was very important, particularly that we heard from our zoning commission candidates prior to our last meeting of the year. So I'm going to actually start with our first docket, which is 0866, which is the reappointment of Hansi Better-Baranza as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Hansi, I know you're currently serving as, you are serving still on the ZBA and have needed to be reconfirmed. So I just wanted to open up with my first question, which is just, since you're going through a reappointment, just sort of what are your qualifications and how are you liking the position and why do you want to continue to serve?
Great. Thank you, Chair Durkin. I also want to thank Councilor Murphy, Councilor Flynn, Councilor Worrell, who's on, and for all the members of the council that might be listening later in the recording. I would like to let you know that I want to continue to serve on the ZBA because I feel with my background, I can continue to have impactful contribution to the ZBA. I have a training in architecture from Cornell University, an urban design degree from the Harvard Graduate School of Design. I live and work in Roslindale for over 22 years. I have also raised my family in Roslindale. I have led Studio Luz Architect, which is a small minority woman Latin-owned business in the city of Boston. I find myself to be an activist, a mother, an educator, an urbanist that focuses on environmental justice in our built environment. I strongly do believe that the planning process should have a progressive role in creating resilient communities. I believe in participatory approaches towards planning to enable cities and citizens to work together to a more just, green, and racially harmonious urban environment. Originally born in Barranquilla, Colombia, I immigrated at the age of 6, raised by a strong single mother who worked as a housekeeper to ensure that I was provided with the necessity to receive a very good public school education here in the USA. Because of my lived experience, social justice, diversity, and equity are central to my everyday practice and ethos. I firmly believe that access to clean air, food, housing, and water are essential human rights, and it is my deep belief that it should be reflected in how we build and live in our urban environment. I have served on the ZBA since 2021, first as an alternate member and then appointed as a full member in December 2022. Councilor Murphy and Councilor Flynn were at that hearing. I have completed the conflict of interest training per the mayor's executive order. I'm an ethical leader, honest and humble, and always look at projects through a community perspective. When making decisions, I remove the I and think of the we in regards to project impact and benefits. I would like to continue to serve on the ZBA and help our city develop in a healthy way without displacement and equitably across all of Boston neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to open up to my colleagues for any questions they may have in order of arrival. So it'll be Councilor Flynn, then Councilor Murphy, and then I'd like to announce also we've been joined by Councilor Brian Worrell. Go ahead, Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Hansi, for the important work that you're doing. I have observed you, and you conduct yourself with professionalism, honesty and integrity, I'm going to vote to reconfirm you. I have no further questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you so
Councilor
much,
Flynn.
Councilor Flynn. And I have to say, Councilor Flynn has the best attendance record at my committee hearing. So I thank you so much, Councilor Flynn. Councilor Murphy?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Hansi, for being here and sharing your personal story. I know you professionally and agree with Councilor Flynn that when you're on the meetings and the hearings, you do have the residents and, all of the things you spoke about, you keep forefront, and you're a good advocate for the city. So we're looking forward to voting in favor of reappointing you, and thank you for going through this process with us.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilor Murphy. Now, Brian Worrell, do you have any questions for Hansi?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Hansi, for your service and you being here today. I'm going to be voting in favor. I do have a question that I'll probably ask all of everyone here today is how do you weigh and factor in community voice and then also balance our need for housing in your decision process?
So, thank you, Councilor Worrell, for that question. In regards to community voice, that is very important to me in terms of my personal decision. As you know, we are a body of other members that vote in on particular cases. But because with zoning, you do have to, for variance, you have to definitely show a hardship to request one, and also to show that you're not impacting the community or the neighborhood in any way. And so therefore, if a project does not have a majority neighborhood abutters support, that heavily goes into my decision making at the end in terms of my personal vote. And then in regards to housing, we don't necessarily have, in regards to putting forth affordable housing, one of the hurdles that I have seen has to do a lot with the negotiations of parking to kind of the density that's being brought into affordable housing. With that not necessarily being a hurdle anymore in regards to a requirement, a zoning requirement in terms of parking for affordable housing, that has made it a little bit easier to facilitate that you put housing people first over cars in regards to my personal decision. But I think it's a really good balancing act in regards to how it ultimately affects transportation, traffic, and the neighborhood in regards to the projects that are going in there.
Thank you so much. Councilor Rell, do you have any additional questions?
No, thank you, Sharon.
Thank you. So we're gonna, I am planning to move, given the testimony of my colleagues and your leadership and everything you do civically, and we appreciate your civic leadership in this way. I'm planning to move you forward at the next council meeting, which is on Wednesday. So thank you so much for all of your service, and I look forward to seeing you again on the ZBA hearing. So thank you.
Thank you, Chair Darkin, and thank you, Councilor Worrell, for that question. Have a good day.
Thank you. So next we're going to move on to those that are seeking and those that have been appointed to the Zoning Commission. So we'll do those in order of the dockets. We'll start with docket 1690, Ryan Woods, and then up next will be docket 1691, Mike Nichols, who is the current chair of the Zoning Commission. So we'll start with Ryan Woods. I know we all know Ryan from his storied tenure and incredible work at the Parks Department. Now, really excited to see your name come through our docket list for the Zoning Commission. So I'll just start with the same question with you. Ryan, it's hard to not call you the commissioner. I'll just start with why would you like to serve, and why this is important to you, and how do you feel like you're qualified for this role? And then I'd also like to announce that we've been joined by Councilor Ben Weber. Go ahead, Ryan.
Good morning, Madam Chair and fellow councilors. Nice to see you all again. It's been 2 months since my departure. I believe you all know, but I'm a lifelong Dorchester resident. Still proudly living there, raising my 3 children in Dorchester. I just completed 18 years at the Boston Parks and Recreation Department, the last 6 years as the commissioner. And in those last 6 years, I also served as the chairperson for the Parks Commission. So very familiar how the commissions work, the role of taking in community feedback and incorporating that. Also have been a member of the Cedar Grove Civic Association in my neighborhood and continue to be a part of that civic association and actively involved with my wife and my family in that. Really interested in preserving the character of our neighborhood and making sure that the community voice is heard throughout our processes and making sure that we enhance our communities, but also preserve that character. So very excited for the opportunity and the consideration to join this commission.
Thank you so much, Ryan. And then now we'll hear from my colleagues with any questions they have in order of arrival. Councillor Ed Flynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had the opportunity to work with Commissioner Woods for 7 years on many issues across the city. What I liked most about Commissioner Woods is the way he treated people. He treated the public, he treated the people that he worked with. He was always respectful to them. He was always considerate to them, and he always conducted himself in a professional manner. I know he'll continue to be a tremendous advocate for the city of Boston. It's good to see you, Commissioner Woods.
You as well. Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you so much, Councillor Flynn. Councillor Murphy.
Yes, thank you, Ryan, for being on. We can see your new view from your new office there.
A lot different from the last view, Councilor.
Definitely. I'd usually just see you either in the neighborhood or in a park, but thank you for being here. Definitely, you know, your time here on the city proves that you're someone who, you know, is more than capable of filling this position and care about the city, and will make sure that, you know, you do things the way you always have about, you know, putting residents first and giving of your time. So looking forward to supporting my opening statements. I know I spoke with Claire after I spoke on Kelly. She is going to me. I just don't want there to be any misunderstanding going forward, but looking forward to support you, and just want to make sure that we on the body know that when we do add people, right, the next time we sit with you, it will hopefully be a reappointment, not an original, but just making sure that everyone is clear on if there are shifts coming, that we're all aware of it. But thank you for your continued service to the city, and looking forward to seeing you in the neighborhood.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you so much. Councillor Weber, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. I'm just here to learn more about the process, but you know, also it's great to see somebody with the experience of Commissioner Woods coming back, and so you know, strong supporter of his appointment, and look forward to working with him in the future. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Councillor Weber. And given all of the testimony and you're clearly fit and prepared and ready for this role, we will move you forward at Wednesday's council meeting. And we're really excited for your leadership and your continued leadership in the city, Ryan. And we know we'll see you soon. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, so next we're going to move to docket 1691, message in order for the confirmation of the reappointment of Michael Nichols. Mike Nichols is a District 8 resident, so I'm highly preferential to this appointment, but I also, he has worked on the downtown bid and now the Downtown Alliance. We're so excited by your leadership, and he's also the current chair of the Zoning Commission. So we know that you are experienced, and this is a reappointment. So just wanted to let you open up with how the Zoning Commission is going and why you'd like to serve for another term.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and distinguished members of the City Council. My name is Michael Nichols. I'm a 17-year resident of Boston. an admitted attorney in Massachusetts, former real estate broker, and formerly served for 5 years as the president of the Audubon Circle Neighborhood Association in Fenway, proudly in District 8. And so I'm familiar with the impacts of proposed development projects, not just within my day job, but certainly in our neighborhoods and the impact that they have. I've served on the Zoning Commission for the past 7 years. For the past 11 years, I have worked at the intersection of urban planning and place management, currently with the Downtown Boston Alliance. Both personally and professionally, I've likely reviewed over 200 proposed developments of various types, sizes, and potential impacts in order to ensure our city continues to evolve and improve in a way that is mindful of each of our communities and stakeholders. And I would certainly look forward to continuing on the commission. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Mike. And next we'll go in order of arrival to my colleagues. Councillor Ed Flynn is first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I've had the opportunity to work with Michael for several years in the downtown area on many issues, but supporting small businesses, representing the interests of residents as well in dealing with quality of life issues and public safety issues. Michael has been a tremendous advocate and leader in the city, and I'm looking forward to voting in support of his continued role on the Zoning Commission. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Flynn. Councillor Aaron Murphy, you're next.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, for being here and for putting your name in to be reappointed. You've already been serving, you've been doing a great job. And I do believe that your, special lens with the Downtown Business Alliance, we have a new name for it, but your experience there in living in the neighborhood here, like you bring what is needed on the board and have always carried yourself professionally and looking out for the best interests, and do have the understanding that, we've had many conversations around zoning and development tied into quality of life issues and safety and supporting commercial, but also obviously balancing that with residential. So definitely you bring that understanding that is needed. And I know that you're a team player, so that only lifts up the other board, so members. So looking forward to supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you so much, Councillor Murphy. Councillor Ben Weber.
Thank you very much. I just want to join my colleagues in thanking you for being willing to do this work, and I'm full support of the appointment, and no questions. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Chair.
Councilor.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So, given the testimony and that this is a reappointment, and that you are currently the chair and are doing a great job of at the Zoning Commission, we'll plan to move your docket forward at Wednesday's council meeting. So I know you're already there, but congratulations. Thank you. So next we'll move to, I don't see docket 1704 here, David Marr, but maybe someone can correct me. Oh, it might be the person who's raising their hand.
Yeah, I'm going to bring them over right now and change.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Hi, David.
Hi, sorry about that. I was
Oh, thank you so much. Sorry, I couldn't see your name there. So it's one of the, negative things about Zoom. But David, thank you so much for being here. David is this is your first time being appointed to the Zoning Commission. So wanted to ask the question first, what interests you in the Zoning Commission, and how, and what has your experience led you to this point of now being appointed to the Zoning Commission?
Yeah, good morning to all the councilors and all participants. Minor correction. I've been on the Zoning Commission. I've served under Mayor Menino.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So the two dockets, so docket Ryan Woods and then docket Mike Nichols says reappointment, and yours just says appointment. So what I will do, David, is when I bring this forward, we will edit it to say reappointment, so that it's we'll amend that when it's, I think it was just filed in a.
Sure.
Yeah, so thank you so much, David, for all of your service. So when did you start serving on the zoning commission?
I was trying to think. I'm old, so it's hard to remember that far back. But I replaced Robert Marr, who was the former chairman, and I'm going
And
to
is
say
he of relation to you?
that's my uncle.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Thank you for your family's legacy of service then. So I guess given that you've served, I'll open it up to my colleagues unless you have anything else to say.
No, I've enjoyed my time on the commission. It's helped me understand Boston better. You know, even though it's been a part of my entire life. It's helped me see neighborhoods under a better spectrum. You know, when you're dealing with all these issues. I'm from the construction world. I think that has served and helped benefit the commission on certain features. As thank you for your compliment on the legacy matter. 6 generations of Mars have worked or are working now within the Mar companies. And again, I think it's been mutually beneficial for my past experiences in serving on the commission and for me gaining a perspective of all the neighborhoods in a greater level of detail.
And David, what neighborhood do you live in?
That is in South Boston.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So I will open it up to the South Boston counselor to see if he has any questions for you. Counselor Ed Flynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thank you to David for his service to the city for so many years. He and the Ma family and his work has helped build a strong Boston. They're ethical, they're honest, they're professional people, and they've contributed greatly not only in building Boston, but also giving back, supporting so many nonprofits and supporting so many families, veterans, community members in need. So I want to say thank you to David, but more importantly, I want to say thank you to the Ma family for their commitment to making Boston the best it can be and the most compassionate city it can be as well. Thank you, David.
Thank you so much, Counselor Flynn, and thank you, David. So we'll go to Counselor Erin Murphy next.
Thank you, David, for being here and for your family's legacy. The Daniel Marr Boys and Girls Club in Dorchester and all of the, you know, giving back to the community, but also your knowledge in the construction world. You're obviously more than, you know, reappointment also. So thank you for your service to the city and looking forward to voting in favor of keeping you on the board. You bring a lot of knowledge. So, and like we say, Councilor Flynn and I say we're the dinosaurs, I think, right, Ed, on the council, that your years of experience are also important, and I appreciate that. That's important that we have a balance on all of these commissions and boards, so thank you for that.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you so much, Counselor Murphy. We'll now go to Counselor Ben Weber.
Yeah, no questions. Just thank you for your service to the city, and you know, look forward to supporting this. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Counselor Weber. And David, so we're planning to move your reappointment, and we'll make sure that that's clear. We'll plan to move your reappointment on Wednesday. So thank you for your service, and thanks for all you do for our communities. And it was great. It's great to hear that your uncle also served on the Zoning Commission. So thank you for your family's legacy of leadership. And you know, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.
So next, we're going to start to move into the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. And I just want to give some background on the conversations that led to there being a Monument Square there being a study committee to prepare the report for the potential designation of a Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. one thing that the city heard loud and clear through Plan Charlestown was that that folks in the community really wanted the city to be intentional about preservation. So this committee that we are now hearing potential and appointments for, there are alternate members and there are members that are being put forward for appointment for the study committee to prepare the study report for potential designation. And this is of a zone, so essentially the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District, which is what is called for in Plan Charlestown, is that sort of those in terms of preservation. I want to be very clear that these appointments or potential appointments to the study committee, it's just a committee to study. This is not the Conservation District Commission. So essentially, there will be another slate of folks who, if this is designated as an architectural conservation district, there will be other folks that we have to hear through this committee to be appointed. So this is just the group that will be preparing. This is just the folks that are on the study committee. And this is made up, given the members of this, these folks that I see on here. A lot of them, there are some from Charlestown, there are others that have other roles at the Landmarks Commission. So it's not just, it's made up of a mix of folks from the city that work on preservation, folks that are already part of the Landmarks Commission, because that's usually how these study committees come together. So just wanted to give that context for my colleagues, because in my time in this committee and chairing this committee, there has never been a study committee to prepare for a report for a potential designation of an area conservation district. So I just wanted to share that this is a unique thing that we are talking about today. First, I want to go. I know there are some alternates and there are some members. I'm going to start with Ian Urquhart, which is docket 1700. Hi, Ian. Good to see you.
Councilor Durkin, thanks for having me, and thanks to the rest of the council on the call.
Of course, yeah. And I wanted to first open it up with, I wanted to first just ask you the question of, like, what does it mean to be part of this for you, and why preservation is important, and why you're interested in serving on this study committee?
Sure. So I'm born and raised in Charlestown. I still live there in the house that I grew up in. My mom lives on the first floor, and my wife and 2 kids and I live upstairs from her, and not far from the monument as well. So, you know, I've got deep roots in the community. You know, I've lived there much of my entire life. I care about Charlestown. I care about the city of Boston, and I'm also an attorney, and I practice in you know, real estate permitting and zoning and land use, and I've got some background with historical reviews, and I just think I can add, you know, from a community standpoint and a professional standpoint with my experience.
Thank you. And what does it mean to you that this study committee came out of Plan Charlestown, and how do you feel about sort of moving forward that work of preservation in Charlestown?
I mean, I think it's important to have community engagement in urban planning, and you know, that Plan Charlestown was a long and thoughtful process, and I think it's a great thing that additional processes are coming out of that in thoughtful ways for our communities to grow.
Thank you. And yeah, I think I wanted to call you first because I know you've been very engaged in the process over the last 6 years. So, so appreciate you being taken out of order. Just wanted to sort of give some of that context. So appreciate, Ian, you being here. I want to give a chance for my council colleagues to ask any questions, starting with Councilor Ed Flynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have any questions, but I do want to say thank you to Ian for the professional work he's done in his career, not only in Charlestown, but across the city. We need honest and ethical people like Ian in city government, state government, and federal government. So thank you, Ian, for your commitment to the residents of Boston.
Appreciate that, Council Flynn.
Thank you, Councilor Flynn. Councilor Aaron Murphy?
Yes, thank you for being here, and wanting to be a voice and advocate for your community. I did mention at first, and I think maybe the chair will bring it up, or maybe public testimony. And I know that the district council, Council Coletta, when you read her letter into the record, so before the vote on Wednesday, there may need to be more conversations about when we move it forward, but I do think you're a good candidate, and you know, looking forward to supporting. Just want to make sure that the district council and the residents do feel like we're not pushing this through, and if there are any questions, but also do recognize and acknowledge that you know, you're giving of your time and you're, you know, volunteering to support something that you care about. So I do appreciate that and look forward to the work that will come out of this study and the commission going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Ben Weber?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't have any questions. Just you know, how to handle, you know, planning issues and community involvement is something that you know, I have to deal with in Jamaica Plain and West Roxbury, and you know, hope to look to the you know, to this body as sort of and what's going on in Charlestown is sort of inform how we proceed. So maybe we'll be talking, and I'm happy to take your advice. But thanks for your service, and look forward to supporting this. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you so much, Councilor Weber. And Ian, I just want to acknowledge that I think, I don't know if you were here for the entire meeting, but I think one of the things that we're dealing with here is, you know, there's been 6 years of process around Plan Charlestown, and one of the key things that came out of that is the need for preservation. And I do believe a delay to some of these dockets would delay the study report, and then that delaying the study report would then delay the designation of Charlestown potentially as a historic neighborhood, and it's, you know, whatever the study committee comes up with. And whatever those takeaways are. So I think it's all about balance, and I did think it was really important to hear this before the end of the year, but I will speak with my district colleague and just make sure that we're aligned in what should happen moving forward. But I think in general, I think the community is asking for preservation, and the first step in that is creating a study committee. And the city council's role in that is determining whether the mayoral appointees are fit, and you are a fit candidate. So thank you so much for being here and all of your work. So so you are relieved, Ian. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Councilor Griffin.
Thank you. Next we're going to go to Senem Kumahia, who I know is already a member of the Landmarks Commission, and we've heard from twice this year. So this is your third appearance, Senem, at the Planning, Development, and Transportation Committee. So thank you for all of your work. Like I mentioned, the study committee is both comprised of members of the Landmarks Commission and other district commissions who have that expertise, as well as Charlestown residents. So I know Senem, I think you don't live in Charlestown, right? You're a member of the Landmarks Commission.
That's correct. I'm a member of the Landmarks Commission and Bay Village as well. I do not live in Charlestown, but I do think it's important to bring diverse perspectives to the plan and to the program moving forward. I do have experience in real estate development throughout Boston. It spans, you know, from hospitality to affordable housing, everywhere from Dorchester to Back Bay. And I think it's important to bring some of that perspective as we look at what we're doing in Charlestown potentially. I do have experience in historic preservation as well, so happy to lend that experience to the process, but excited to be here and looking forward to working with the group to make sure that we're impactful in our study.
Thank you so much. Given that I've already asked you probably 3 rounds of questions at the other hearings, I know that I believe in your leadership, and I'm grateful that you're willing to serve on another project and another thing that we're working on at the city. So I'll let my other council colleagues ask questions. Councillor Flynn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senum, for your contributions to the residents of Boston. Looking forward to supporting you on Wednesday when it comes before us. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Councillor Flynn. Councillor Murphy?
Thank you for being here and for your current service on the landmark, and looking forward to continuing this conversation. Thank you for your service and
Thank you so much.
coming for us. Yeah.
Councillor Weber?
Yeah, no questions. Thank you, Senum. I appreciate your contribution to the city, and look forward to supporting this.
Thank you.
Back to you, Chair.
Thanks, Counselor, and thank you, Senum. I have no further questions for you since I've looked at your resume 3 different times now, so appreciate your leadership and excited for you to be part of this. And this would be sort of one of the would be the first architectural conservation district in a long time, so I appreciate the city promoting preservation and what I like to call proactive preservation, which is preservation before there are proposals that, and I think that's one thing that I've been super passionate about as counselor for historic neighborhoods, is making sure that we are preserving what we care about without, before there's a proposal for something different. And I know that's something that you have threaded the needle on in your work. So thank you so much, Senum, and hope you have a great holiday season. It's good to see you. Tell your wife I said hi.
Take care.
Okay, so next we're gonna go to Fadi Samaha, docket 1694. Fadi, are you here? Okay, I don't hear him being here. So Fadi is someone on docket 1694 that is part of the Landmarks Commission, who we have heard from this year at the Landmarks when he got through the Landmarks Commission. So he has come before the committee this year. Next, we're going to go to docket 1696, Lindsay Mack Jones. And she is proposed to be a member of the study committee. And I know there's a couple that are proposed to be alternates, so I'll flag those as they come before us. But Lindsay, thank you so much for being here. If you could talk a little bit about your experience, what neighborhood you live in, and what qualifies you to be on the study committee for the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District, that would be great.
Sure. So I'm trained as an architect. I've worked in architecture and also in project planning. And I have a lifelong interest really in preservation and historic architecture. I've been a commissioner on the Landmarks Commission for 7 years. And I'm also a 15-year resident of Charlestown. I moved here when I was a newlywed, and now I have 3 young children that we're raising here in Charlestown. We're living in the same house. And we've seen a lot of change in the neighborhood since we've been here. I love this neighborhood. I love our neighbors. And I feel that it's a historic neighborhood that deserves more protection than it gets in terms of architecture. So I'm very interested in serving on the commission.
Wow, Lindsay, I knew you were on the Landmarks Commission and I knew you were an architect, but I did not know you also lived in Charlestown for so long. So yeah. Seems like you've got the triple whammy of being just totally, absolutely qualified to be on this study committee. So thank you for being willing to serve again. I wanted to open it up to my colleagues, Councillor Ed Flynn, starting with Councillor Ed Flynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Lindsay, for your service to the residents of Charlestown and to the residents of Boston as well. Strong leadership, professionalism, integrity. Looking forward to supporting you at the City Council vote when it's coming up. Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Councillor Murphy?
Yeah, morning, Lindsay. Thank you for coming on and sharing your experience, and raising your kids always brings a different perspective when you're living in a community. So thank you for that added experience that you would bring to this commission, and looking forward to the work once everyone is selected, the work of this commission going forward, making sure that we're uplifting all of the voices of the residents in Charlestown. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. Councilor Weber, do you have any questions?
Yeah, no questions. Just be great to. You're welcome, Lindsay, to move to District 6. You could use somebody with your qualifications out here. I'm just getting jealous of all these great people on these commissions. So thank you very much for your service, and look forward to supporting you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilor Weber. And given that you are a really highly qualified member of the Landmarks Commission, and given that your personal experience, I'm excited to move your nomination forward when the time is right. So Lindsay, thank you so much for being here. You are relieved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so next we're going to go to Jeffrey Gagnon, who I know we've heard from this year as well. Jeffrey, it's so good to see you. I know that you are a historic preservation consultant, so are a highly qualified person to and have worked at Historic Boston, and have looking at your resume, I know you have a lot of great experience. Can you tell us why serving on the study committee for this for the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District is important to you, and what you're bringing to that, although I can very much see it from your resume. Oh, sorry, you're muted, Jeffrey.
There we go.
Go ahead.
First of all, thank you, Chair Durkin, for pronouncing my name correctly. That's rare that happens, so Gagnon is appropriate. Thank you. Yes, so I'm a 27-year resident of Dorchester. I've been an independent historic preservation consultant for the last 13 years, and prior to that, I worked at Historic Boston Incorporated for 13 years. So, and as a result of those work in those two areas, I've worked on projects all across the city of Boston, focusing primarily on projects in the city of Boston. And in particular, since we were fortunate enough to have CPA helping to fund historic preservation projects, a main part of my work has been deploying CPA funds for strong historic preservation projects around the city, including in, I think, all of the districts of the councilors here. As you mentioned previously, Chair Durkin, as part of our role as commissioners on the Landmarks Commission, we're expected to take part in some of these other planning activities outside of the core responsibilities that we have on the commission itself, and serving on local historic district commissions is one, but also the preparation of these study reports. And I think it's really important to emphasize that preparing these reports is the start of a long process, but it's a critical planning exercise in determining what historic resources are extant, the potential boundaries of a new architectural conservation district if it makes its way through the process, and the study report itself recommends that, and the commission agrees and puts it forward. So I've never actually participated in this project before, or process before, so I'm very excited to get in from the beginning in Charlestown and to learn about the historic resources there.
And Jeffrey, can you talk a little bit, I know you haven't been on a study committee to prepare for a conservation district before, but can you talk about what mix of people might exist or might be helpful in building to, like, what different perspectives might be helpful? And having seen some of the other names of folks do you feel like they are qualified and ready to serve, and that this is a good mix?
I think that the composition of the list of names is obviously very intentional, and there's some super qualified people from the community itself, and lots of overlap between commissioners who live in the community, who not only know the kind of technical ins and outs of this process, but know the community well, because of their residency there. So I think that I was actually surprised that there was a confirmation process for a study committee. Not just
I actually was too. Yeah.
So this is very rigorous, and the vetting and the review of the various resumes, I think, is a great sign that this process is being taken seriously, and that we'll end up with a good product that represents the wishes of the community and the kind of technical standards of the Landmarks Commission.
Yeah, I was surprised too that there was because usually study reports are put together, study reports for individual buildings are just put together by those either district level commissions or the Landmarks Commission. And so it's interesting that this does need a separate confirmation process, but I did appreciate, I think we got some emails who I know we'll probably hear from at the end of testimony, just saying, we don't know every single, some of the community members didn't know every single name that was put forward, because this mix, and that's why I asked the question, this mix of people really does demonstrate a mix of preservation focused people, architects, people with like the preservation expertise, but also people with the community expertise. And it was just interesting hearing from Lindsay Mack Jones, because she's actually both. She's the community person who also is, she's sort of like that triple threat of like has actually all of those things at once. But I really did appreciate, I really appreciate the mix, getting a chance to talk to them. So it is really important. Though I was surprised that this was coming through the committee, I actually am really excited that it is rigorous and that it's coming through the committee, because it sheds a light on that early step of a process of forming a conservation district commission. And I think that's important for my colleagues and I to be a part of that, and appreciate that, appreciate just getting the chance to see that. I know there is proposals for other neighborhoods to be landmarked, and this is the beginning of that process. So even though it's been 6 years of conversation of Plan Charlestown and honestly decades of conversation about how we need to preserve different areas of the city. So thank you so much, Jeffrey. I'd like to open it up to my colleagues to see if they have any questions, starting with Councilor Ed Flynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Jeffrey, for your commitment to the residents of the city of Boston. Looking forward to supporting you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Flynn. Councilor Murphy?
Thank you, Jeffrey, for being here. We're neighbors in Dorchester. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that always helps. That gives you extra points. No, just kidding. Thank you for your, expertise and your understanding of what's needed for this, study. Like you mentioned, the study before the work, but it's all important, and just looking forward to, it being transparent and open, and trust that you will do that. So looking forward to supporting you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilor Murphy. Councilor Weber?
Yeah, no questions. Just, thank you, Jeffrey, and looking forward to supporting this. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you so much, Councilor Weber. So Jeffrey, you're relieved unless you have any last comments.
Nope. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Take care.
Okay, so next we're going to go to Amit Dinanath. Dinanath, is that right? Amit Dinanath? Oh, sorry, you're muted.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh,
Amit.
perfect. Okay.
Hi, good morning.
So Amit is being put forward to be an alternate member of the study committee to prepare for the report for the potential designation of the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. And just sharing that I think alternate members come in handy when a member is unable to serve, but I think they may also be included in, do you know if you'll be included in all the other meetings?
I don't know.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, I guess we'll just, I'll just open it up with why is it interesting to you to serve on this, and sort of what has brought you to this point, and thank you so much for being willing to serve.
Yeah, so good morning, everyone. My name is Amit Dinanath. I've lived in Charlestown for now 3 years. I also am on the neighborhood council. I represent Precinct 4. So the Monument Square is sort of right around the corner. I live on Lexington. So I have an MBA in finance and strategy, and I'm a healthcare tech consultant. So my perspective is a little different from everyone else here, but the ability to hear the voices, bring a diverse set of eyes and ears, and learn from the process, right? Because Charlestown and the neighborhood is very important. We've truly loved living here. And so that's the whole reason, for me to make sure that the voices are heard, and there's a different perspective than everyone else, on the board. So.
Thank you so much. And Amit, our role as city councilors is just to make sure that everyone is fit to serve in the role. So that's sort of the process we're going through today. So I'd like to open it up to my colleagues for any questions they may have, starting with Councilor Ed Flynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Amit, thank you for your commitment to the residents of Charlestown. I should call you Councilor, because you're on the Charlestown Neighborhood Council, so let me call you Councilor. But just want to say thank you to your commitment to the residents of the city of Boston for your leadership as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Amit, Counselor Murphy, do you have any questions?
No, just thank you for your work on the Charlestown Council, which I know does a lot of great work. I've been to several of your meetings and just follow the work you do there. And just thank you for wanting to be on this board and share your expertise.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Murphy. Counselor Weber?
Yeah, no questions. Just thank you for your service and look forward to supporting this.
Yep.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Amit. I think then we're done with questions, and you know, I can't bump you up from alternate to member, but hopefully you get to participate in all of the discussions, because I think your perspective would definitely be would be valued. So
Yep.
thank you so much for coming, and you are relieved.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, so next we're going to go to Linda Nashiamkin. Sorry, I pronounced that wrong. Nashamkin. Linda Nashamkin.
Thank you. That was quite good.
Oh, good. Okay,
Linda
perfect.
Nashamkin. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I would be delighted to tell you why I'm very interested in this. I've been a resident of Charlestown for 45 years, 39 of those on Monument Square itself. And I should say 30 years on Monument Square itself. And my late husband and I have had a architectural practice here in Charlestown for the last 39 years, Neshemkin French Architects. Our work has very often involved us in preservation and adaptive reuse projects in Charlestown. I can't tell you how much I have seen and how I have really appreciated the fact that it has remained a very tight-knit community. I think that it has absorbed well new people coming into it, and I think that you know, that's something that is to its credit. Before starting our practice together, I spent 5 years as the design review architect for the Massachusetts Housing Finance Agency as well. And I also have some development experience because there are a number of projects on which we were the developers as well as the architects here in Charlestown primarily, although some also in Jamaica Plain. And our focus in all of those cases was always to preserve what we were starting with. I have over the years refused to do some projects, which is always good as an architect when you can refuse to do a project, because somebody came to me and said, the first thing I want to do is tear this building down, you know, here in the middle of Charlestown. So that's basically what I was going to say. Other than that, I am delighted to be considered for this. Thank you very much.
And wow, I took a peek at your resume, and just the fact that you've been part of preserving so many buildings in Charlestown, like it's pretty insane just seeing the list. And across the city, but specifically in Charlestown, the amount of projects you've been a part of. So I really appreciate just the opportunity we have as a city to have you be part of this study report. Sounds like we couldn't have picked a better person. And obviously I didn't pick the list, but I think as a city, it's just very clear that you are absolutely qualified. I could read through these, but you've got 6 buildings just on Monument Square that you've been a part of. So, and probably more, this is just your selected work. So, so thank you so much for your qualifications and bringing those to this process. We're really, you worked on the Zelma Lacey house, you worked on like so many things. Wow, I'm just seeing, and also some stuff in my district in the Back Bay. So thank you so much for everything. Yep. Thank you so much for all that you do. It's very nice to meet you. Given the work that we do through this committee, it's nice to just put a face with a name. And I'd like to open it up to my colleagues. So Councillor Ed Flynn, and then Councillor Erin Murphy, and then Councillor Ben Weber, if you have any questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to say thank you to Linda for so many years of service to the residents of the city of Boston on so many different projects. But what stands out most about Linda is her professionalism and her integrity. And that's exactly what we need here in City Hall. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you so much, Councillor Flynn. Councillor Aaron Murphy?
Yes, thank you, Linda, for being here, for your service to the city and the knowledge and just expertise you would bring to this study. So looking forward to supporting that.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor.
Councillor Weber, she has worked on a ton of things in your district as well, just so you know.
Yes, no, I was excited to hear something about Jamaica Plain. I'm looking through the resume to see if I can find anything, but I appreciate your service to the city and look forward to supporting this. And
thank you very much.
Hearing before us. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Linda. It's like not every day you get to meet your hero. So thank you so much for all you've done. And thank you for serving on this. As a highly qualified candidate, when we move all these people forward, you will also get moved forward. I don't know if that'll be Wednesday, but I'm hoping it's Wednesday and we can move forward, because I do think any delay to the study report would then delay the designation. And I think given the qualified candidates we've heard from, I hope that we can move forward as quickly as possible to get the preservation work going that really should have started decades ago. And
right.
I know you've been working on for decades just individually. So, so thank you, Linda.
And I neglected to add one thing, which is that we raised our family here, and both of my daughters and their husbands and children, everybody chose to come, to be able to find a place and come back to Charlestown. So I think that's very important.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yep.
Thank you, Linda.
Okay.
Thanks for adding that.
All right.
So you're both in the industry and you have the family and you're all doing things in Charlestown. So awesome. Thank you so much, Linda. You're relieved.
Thanks. Thank you.
So next, if I see, is Julie Hall here?
I don't see her, Madam Chair.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll wait on that one. Nancy Johnson?
Yep, here I am.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really pleased to be asked to join the study group. And I'm assuming you're going to ask me the same question, or do you have something?
Yeah, yes. If you just want to open with sort of how you're qualified and what makes you excited about working on the study report.
Okay, great. So I'm a 20-year Charlestown resident, but a lifelong Bostonian. I grew up in Hyde Park. I am an attorney. I've been admitted to the Mass Bar for 22 years. Prior to being an attorney, I worked for 15 years for Harvard University's Real Estate Development and Management Group. And I've done everything from being a financial analyst, looking at best use of land, to being an assistant construction manager, to instituting the first CAD systems that they had. I've also, but sort of more importantly, I've been involved in Charlestown for the time that I've been here. I've been a member of the Charlestown Neighborhood Council for 5 years, from 2019 through 2023, and I'll be going back on as the Precinct 5 representative in January. I was the Neighborhood Council's representative to Plan Charlestown. I've also independently been on a number of the impact advisory group for the Article 80 large project reviews for Charlestown projects, and have attended most of those meetings over the past 6 years. I'm also involved in a number of other groups, including I was for a while on the board of the Charlestown Historical Society. I'm a member of the Preservation Society and a member of the Bunker Hill Monument Association. So I have a deep appreciation for the history of Charlestown and its preservation. I think one of the things that I'm most excited about seeing this study committee come about is that after being on the Plan Charlestown Advisory Group as the CNC's representative for the entirety of the Plan Charlestown process, Plan Charlestown was really meant to be just that, a plan, but it's an outline. And there are a number of recommendations that need to be brought to fruition. And I'm a strong believer, as a member of the Neighborhood Council, who facilitated meetings both for Plan Charlestown, for groups like the Helm, to come in, and as a member of their, I was also the co-chair of the development committee for the CNC, and plan to return to that role. But the value of the community process and having people have a place to speak up. Personally, I've also seen this, is that people come in with very, they have points of view, they may have good information, they may have bad information, but I think that once people hear what everyone has to say, they walk away with a broader perspective. And I think that's the importance of having the community process, not only in this land, in looking at this architectural district, but as other parts of Plan Charlestown are sort of brought down to reality over the next couple of years. And I'm looking forward to participating in that process. You've been on way too many Zoom calls when people stop you in the Whole Foods and start talking about what you've been saying. But I really value that feedback because, again, everything I hear from a member of the community, I hope the things that they hear from me broaden the perspective. And I'll just also say I was also very involved when I was in Hyde Park. I was an officer for one of the inaugural Main Street programs in Hyde Park under Mayor Menino in the 90s. So I've had like decades of sort of working here and there in Boston and on various nonprofits and volunteering. So I'm really excited.
I'm just like, wow, someone give this woman an award. Like, thank you so much for everything that you've done. Just hearing the list of countless things that you've been involved with preservation and preservation, development, community conversations, and civic, and everything you've done civic-wise. Like, Nancy, sounds like you are incredibly qualified for this position and for being a study committee member. So thank you so much, Nancy. I just want to open it up to my colleagues for any questions that they may have. Councillor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to say thank you to Nancy for her commitment to the residents of Boston. She has an outstanding background, outstanding resume, education, exactly the right person at the right time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Nancy, for being here. And you moved all the way, everyone from Charlestown says getting yourself to Hyde Park, you could get to New Hampshire quicker. So you did make the move over to the other side of the city. But as an at-large city councilor, in Charlestown a lot, and do appreciate your past work in Hyde Park, when all of these main streets and supporting small businesses were created under Menino. And just know that your experience and your advocacy and your commitment to the city will be a good voice on this. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Councillor Weber.
No questions. Just thank you for all your service. There's a lot of it, and I think everyone here can commiserate over getting stopped in the supermarket about things we have said. So we're empathetic there, and it's part of the.
Yeah, I have also been stopped in my Whole Foods about things that I've said. So thank you so much, Nancy.
It's all part of the conversation. It's all good stuff, right? Thumbs up and thumbs down, right? So.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much, Nancy. I think one of the real honors of being the chair of this committee is getting to convene folks who have been giving so much of their time and their civic leadership to the city, and their volunteerism knows no bounds, and you're clearly one of those people. So I just want to thank you on behalf of the city of Boston for all that you do, and I'm excited to move your nomination forward when we get to our next meeting. So thank you, Nancy.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so next, I'm trying to see who's left. So I know we have Intaya. Are you here? Hi, Intaya. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Intia.
Intia, nice to meet you. Sorry for the mispronunciation. So if you want to, Intia, if you want to give just a blurb about sort of why you're interested in serving on the study committee for the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District, that would be great.
Sure. So I've lived in Charlestown since 2018. I live around the corner from the Monument Square on Trenton Street. I also own property on Russell Street. And we walk our child to school past Monument Square and the Bunker Hill Memorial every day. So I was there this morning. I'll be there tonight, And I studied urban studies at Harvard. I grew up in Holyoke, Massachusetts, and I returned there as an adult as well. And when I was living there, I served on the Historic Commission in Holyoke, which is a really important historic town, even nationally, and I'm very proud of it. And later, I served on the planning board there as well. So, as a resident of Charlestown, I was appointed to Plan Charlestown Advisory Group, and I was very active in that process. And I'm also on the Charlestown Preservation Society's Design Review Committee, among lots of other civic groups and work. In my day job, I'm an affordable housing developer working for the Community Development Corporation, which is a nonprofit in Roxbury, Madison Park Development Corporation. And an interesting fact about Madison Park is that it was founded in 1965, actually as sort of an act of resistance and response to the fact that the historic Madison Park in Roxbury was demolished by the then Boston Redevelopment Authority. And so I'm kind of like steeped in the importance of historic preservation in that way. And I think it was you earlier, Councilor Durkin, who said something about, you know, the proactivity of this kind of work. And so definitely in my work at Madison Park, I think a lot about, you know, how things could have been different for that community if sort of proper care would have been given to preserving what was there originally.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for bringing your expertise. And I know because you do a lot of work for Madison Park and you have real estate experience in addition to being a neighbor, how do you feel like that confluence of experience will help you in this role?
Yeah, I actually think it's really helpful. So I recently, I think the most recent historic district to get enacted, or whatever the proper term is, was the Highland Park Conservation District, which was enacted earlier this year, I believe, officially. And so I've actually been, as a developer, exposed to the process of having a project that was in development, in the development pipeline, and sort of had gotten prior approvals before that district's creation, and then having to pivot as a developer to go in and respond to that commission's, you know, work and thoughts and suggestions. And I was actually, one of the proudest moments of my career, I would say, was there was a really contentious meeting, and then we were sort of second on the agenda. And so after what had been a really contentious dialogue on that call for several hours, finally got to our project, and just hearing from the commissioners saying that, you know, my team was really respectful and thoughtful and responsive in every way to every suggestion that the group had made over the past few months that we've been in communication with them was just, it's really nice to hear those words as a developer, and I think it speaks to the fact that I take that work seriously. So I know I can imagine why someone might see that as a potential conflict, but I actually think the opposite. I think, especially because I do it as a nonprofit employee, so it's not like I joke that like I'm not making yacht money off of any of these developments, right? Is just that I actually get to see it from both sides. And I think that on the Charlestown Preservation Society, for example, I think my perspective has been helpful in that I've sort of helped other reviewers understand how to translate some of the thoughts or suggestions into the language or suggestions that developers might be able to be more responsive to. And so I think it's a really important perspective.
Thank you so much. I'd like to open it up to my colleagues to see if they have any questions, starting with Councilor Ed Flynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Intia. Did I pronounce that correct?
You did. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any questions, but I enjoyed listening to you, and you have a great story. You have great experience. You know, you've contributed greatly to the city, making it a better place an inclusive place for everyone. So I just want to say thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilor Flynn. Councilor Aaron Murphy.
Thank you, Antia, and just enjoyed listening, you know, to your life in Charlestown and your work in Roxbury and across the city, and just know that that experience will be helpful on this board. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Weber.
Yeah, no questions. Just, you know, thanking Intia for all of your great work around the city, and hoping for more to come. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. given your qualifications, excited to move you forward at the first, when I first can. So thank you so much. And I think the start of a study report is what the community's been asking for. And I think this is a great first step. So thank you for being willing to serve.
Thank you. And I'll just say I also really appreciate and support moving the process forward to get the steering committee going. And so thank you for that.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. So now I think next we'll hear from Crystal Galvin, who is similarly put forward as a member of the study committee. Hi, Crystal.
Good morning. Hi. So like Ian, I have deep roots in the community. I grew up here, and like Amit and Nancy, I'm a part of a neighborhood council and a lot of civic activities, but my background is really not in preservation. It's in the nonprofit human services and community engagement space. And I've sort of dedicated my career to ensuring that life is better for Charlestown and residents of Charlestown. And so the opportunity to contribute to this study is really about maintaining the unique character that makes Charlestown so special. And I'm passionate about ensuring that that this neighborhood and the city remains vibrant for future generations. And so I guess not having the historic preservation lens, but really coming from the space of why community engagement is so critical, and really dedicating fostering inclusivity and engagement within Charlestown's diverse communities and ensuring that more voices are involved in decisions that impact our shared spaces and having ownership of shared spaces, not just around the monument, but throughout the community. And so I really eager to bring my commitment to service and collaboration and learn more and work together to benefit all of Charlestown residents.
And thank you for your time and today, because I know you must be busy with this holiday season coming up and toys and everything else that you guys do as a community organization. I think it's funny. It's like if you want something done, ask a busy person, and you're one of those busy people. So, so thank you for being willing to serve. I think the structure of this study committee, now that I have heard from most of the folks who have been put forward, is really to create a lot of balance between the architectural expertise, the neighborhood expertise, the community expertise. So you clearly are filling one of those buckets and really can have a great role in making sure that the community's voice is represented. I want to let my colleagues ask any questions they may have. I'm starting with Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to Crystal for your work in Charlestown. I know you've been active with the Kennedy Center for so many years, but helping families in need and seniors in need, especially on food access programs. You've been a tremendous leader in the community, and just want to acknowledge you and acknowledge your contributions and compassionate leadership. So I don't have any questions, but I'm looking forward to supporting Crystal, and just wanted to wish her a happy holiday season as well.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you so much, Councilor. Councilor Murphy?
Yes, thank you, Crystal, and thank you for staying on. I know you have a busy few weeks with all the work you're doing at the Kennedy Center for the children and their families. Just looking forward to your voice. I know that you're well respected in the community, and you volunteer your time on lots of different boards and commissions and advocate for, you know, the neighbors and all of the residents, and will bring that voice that some people may be worried will not be heard during these discussions. So appreciate that, and looking forward to supporting you.
Okay, perfect. So Councilor Weber?
Yeah, no questions. Just, thank you for serving the city, and look forward to supporting this as well. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. So I think, Crystal, you are relieved. Thank you so much for being willing to serve. We're planning to move forward your nomination. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
So I think the two people we haven't heard from are docket 1699, Julie Hall, and docket 1694, Fadi Samaha. Are either of those individuals here today?
I don't see them, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I think those, let me just quickly look at the resume of, so I think Fadi is already a member of the Landmarks Commission, so that may be moved forward. We've already heard from him twice this year at this committee. So I would plan, if we're planning to move these forward, I would plan to move Fadi forward, given that he's a member of the Landmarks Commission, and I know they're trying to fill a certain amount of slots for Landmark Commission folks. But if it's important to my colleagues to hear a statement from him about why he wants to serve, I can have that prepared for when we plan to move this forward. And then we haven't heard from Julie Hall, so I think given that she hasn't at least come before this committee before, I would hold that one, given that we haven't heard, and then that one would be dealt with in the new year. So that would be the plan. I just want to be completely transparent with my colleagues on this call about sort of what we're planning through the committee. I do want to read a letter of absence from Council President Rusi Louisian. Dear Chair Durkin, I am unable to attend the Committee on Planning, Development, and Transportation hearing on the dockets mentioned, a hearing regarding the various appointments. I recognize the importance of these appointments and the impact they have on the future of our city's development, preservation, and environmental regulations and planning efforts. These decisions will directly impact our city's development, the preservation of its historic character, the environment, and careful planning necessary balance and the careful planning necessary to balance growth with the needs of our neighborhoods. These appointments will be instrumental in ensuring that Boston remains a vibrant, sustainable, and inclusive place for all residents. I kindly request that any materials, including candidate profiles and related documents, be sent to my office, and I am committed to staying informed and contributing to these decisions. I look forward to reviewing the materials, and should you or the administration have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach directly out to my office. Sincerely, Council President Rusi Louisian. And then I did want to make sure to broach one of the things that we talked about early in the hearing. I know Councilor Murphy asked proactively, and I know this was a filing that you had Councilor Murphy, I know this was a filing you had to know on each docket whether someone was being replaced. I just wanted to confirm on these dockets, all seats are vacant or they're new seats. So we're not replacing anyone through the appointment of these three or these dockets mentioned. So that was sent to me by the administration. So I just wanted to make sure to read that into the record. I think I just want to say thank you to everyone for attending this morning's slate of nominations for Zoning Commission, ZBA, and Monument Square Architectural Conservation Districts. These boards are essential to the oversight and operations of how development in our physical environment gets executed in the city. As Chair of Planning, Development, and Transportation, I look forward to any comments that my colleagues have after the hearing, and just want to thank all of the nominees today for appearing. So with that, I want to give a chance for any of my colleagues for any last comments, and then I am planning to close the hearing.
Sorry, Madam Chair. I just want to flag that we do have 2 people signed up for public testimony as well, just before you close out.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, we can hear from both of them. Sorry. But I do want to give my colleagues a chance to speak before the public testimony. So Councilor Ed Flynn.
Madam Chair, thank you. And those that appeared before us were excellent, and I know they'll continue to do a great job and do a great job in their new roles or continuing in their new roles. They're highly educated, professional, and they'll be great additions to their particular neighborhoods and the city. I know one person that wasn't here has appeared before us several times over the last year. I think I would recommend to have that person be added, even though that person wasn't here in person. If that person already testified several times, I think that shows that person's commitment to the city council. Just my own suggestion, but we'll obviously leave it up to you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Flynn, and I know that person is your constituent, so thank you for advocating for them, and runs a great local business in your district. So, so thank you for advocating for Fadi. Okay, Councillor Murphy.
No, I'm looking forward to public testimony. I may have closing closing statements after, but right now I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Weber?
Yeah, I don't have any comments. Thank you very much, Chair, for convening this hearing.
Thank you. Okay, so now we'll move to public testimony. Shane, do you want to call their names?
Yes, I'm bringing over Diane Valley now.
Okay, perfect.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yes, I can, Diane. You have 2 minutes.
I would like to share my comments that I have shared with Sharon Durkin. This notice on docket 1692-1704, we have requested to be postponed and rescheduled for the following reasons. Most Monument Square or Charlestown residents are not informed of this matter. There have been no public hearings, and mayors will selected representatives without public notice, without public meetings, which is publicly an issue of the administration about private selections rather than valid community engagement. In light of the current administration credibility issues, it's in the city's best interest to allow the public to meet in advance, to be informed, and to have time to respond. Notice for this hearing was sent and is scheduled during one of the busiest times of the year during the holidays. These matters were sponsored by Mayor Michelle Wu and were referred to the committee on November 20th. Notice was posted on the 5th of December at 8:59 a.m. Thanksgiving was November 28th, one of the busiest holiday weeks. This meeting today at 10 o'clock is a very inopportune time for public participation. One working day for notice is insufficient during this busy season. Plan Charlestown, which has been referenced a number of times here, was approved despite the community's really vigorous opposition, and despite that Mayor Wu has stated publicly at CNC meetings and at the State House that she does not support plans going forward, but it was so far along that she approved it. Charlestown deserves proper process before this also is too far along. Charlestown residents deserve to know about and participating in meaningful, valid community events. And Monument Square is worthy of preservation. However, current preservation in Charlestown has not been complete or effective. I bring your attention to Thompson Square, Lawrence Street, Soley Street, and the Bunker Hill housing, and many more examples of less than satisfactory, quote, preservation. This is a conflict. Most residents are unable to compete in a Monday morning because today at 11 o'clock, the state is holding a hearing that will affect all of us, that refers to the mayor's proposal to raise Boston taxes. So I say to you that I would like you to postpone this entire process until after the first of the year, because we have so many competing issues happening, and also so that we can review with this committee how much the community of Charlestown opposes Plan Charlestown, and to use the very people that supported Plan Charlestown when there were 4,000 signatures for a master plan instead of Plan Charlestown really flies in the face of what we are trying to define as valid community engagement. So I ask you to postpone this until the first of the year. We will try on the community level to engage more community residents because they did not know. I know you received a letter today from the Bunker Hill Monument Association, the oldest organization in our community, that was not informed and is not in favor of. So I ask each and every one of you to please consider that we do not want to have a process that does not involve the community. This is a precedent. And to date, this sounds more like a performance than an engagement. So I ask you to redefine what community engagement here is in the city of Boston, and redefine so that we can have some faith in what the government's doing. We really want to do the right thing here. I have lived here since 1982. I've been very involved. I started the Monument Square Neighborhood Association. This is a very big passion project for many of us who've lived here for many years. So there's more people that need to be at the table. So thank you for letting me testify.
Thank you, Diane. Is there anyone else left to testify?
Yes, we have, oh, I'm sorry. Joanna Hines, I'm bringing her over right now.
Okay.
Hi, thank you. Yes, I'm also calling, well, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I didn't hear about this until about, I don't know, 24 hours ago. I'm on the neighborhood council as well. I'm an at-large counselor. This was not on the agenda for any meeting that has happened in the last year, and it certainly wasn't on the agenda or brought up at the meeting that happened last week, despite the fact that there are several people from the CNC being put on this list. So that's really disappointing. I mean, I am all for protecting Charlestown's history. That's why Aaron Woods and I co-founded and are co-chairs of the Charlestown Historic Battlefield District Committee. We are a 501c3. We've gone through the study committee process. The whole process has been public. Every time we have a meeting, it's in the newspaper. We've had up to, 7 meetings with guests, near 100 people at the last one. We are working to get a historic district having to do with the entire neighborhood, not just the rich part, but that's neither here nor there. I'm opposing the process. As Diane Valley said, Charlestown really needs to know that we can trust city government, and right now it doesn't feel like that. The cast of characters that are being submitted for this study committee are the same ones that led us astray with Plan Charlestown. If you were to come to Charlestown and ask people how they felt about Plan Charlestown, I think you'd get a unanimous, we're really upset about it. It does not serve our community as the answer. So this just feels like an extension of that. For whatever reason, a lot of people in Charlestown are wary of a historic district recognition, and most of that concern has to do with architectural restrictions, as I'm sure you've heard and know if you're on the city council. But the fact that nobody in the neighborhood even knows that this meeting is happening, the fact that there's not a military historian on this submittal list, I think all of these things, I hope all of these things will encourage the city council to come back with a closing statement and give us a little more time to engage the city.
Joanna, I just wanted to let you know you're at time.
Okay, great. Thank you. So that was it. Great.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Diane, and thank you, Joanna, for your testimony. I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but I was just curious if Joe Cornish or Kathy Poderitas could just get on quickly and talk about the process moving forward, because I think in both of those testimonies, there were a couple of sort of feeling that this is like the end of the, or just, this is just the start of the study report process. So I would love for Joe Cornish to talk a little bit more about where we are in the process of historic designation and what that means and what levels of designation exist, or whatever details he'd like to offer. I think that would be helpful to the community.
Looks like.
Thank you, Joe. I'm so sorry to put you on the spot.
Oh, no, thank you. And, we so appreciate having the opportunity to have this committee meeting, and thank you to the city councilors who are present, Councilor Durkin, Councilor Weber, Councilor Murphy, and Councilor Flynn. This is just sort of the very beginning of the process for designating a potential architectural conservation district. In 2022, the Boston Landmarks Commission received a petition, and that was accepted by the Boston Landmarks Commission for further studies. So the next step in that process is to appoint the study committee that will be moving the process forward.
So just sorry to interrupt, Joe, but essentially we're doing something 2 years later that was called for, like essentially someone kicked off the process 2 years ago. And so given that context, I don't think I really feel comfortable bumping this to next year, given that it's been 2 years. And I was excited to have this slot open up so that we could have this conversation prior to the last council meeting of the year. So I just, not to think out loud or anything, but just I don't really feel comfortable, given the context of this study report being petitioned by the public, being pushed any further than 2 years after the petition. So sorry, can you talk a little more to that?
Sure. I mean, we're very excited to get this process moving forward. All of the study committee meetings will be open to the public, so it's a very public process. We anticipate that the subcommittee will probably meet between 6 months and maybe even a year to make sure that they're being very thorough in vetting the study report, which will be presented to the Boston Landmarks Commission with the opportunity for public feedback and public comment. And then ultimately, the Boston Landmarks Commission will vote to hopefully accept the study report and accept a recommendation to designate the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District. But then the mayor and city council will also have the opportunity to vote whether or not to move those forward.
And what, can you talk about sort of the different steps in the process? So there are going to be study report meetings that are open to the public. Will the community be able to weigh in to the study report committee about feelings that they have about certain attributes of the designations?
Absolutely.
Or certain levels of, like, as I know, I live in a historic district, there are certain things that are called for in the Beacon Hill Historic District. So for example, would they be able to weigh in on those things if there are? I think the last person who testified talked about sort of some of the fears of historic designation. So would they be able to weigh in at the study report stage?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very public process, and part of the recommendations of the study committee will be the standards and criteria for the scope of protection in the district and what features will be protected. And just to throw it out there, use is something that the Boston Landmarks Commission does not have any authority to regulate.
Thank you so much, Joe. And I knew our new Director of Historic Preservation, Kathy Coderitas, is on. Would you like to add anything?
Thank you, Councilor, and thanks to all councilors present for your participation in this process. I too am learning, so thank you, Joe. But I only will add, because it was noted that for a military historian, for example, to be added to the process, we will be able to bring whatever resources necessary to delineate community history in its broadest sense, but also in specific ways that are unique to Charlestown. So no fears, no worries there, that we will be as comprehensive and as diverse in the way in which we elicit and compile the history of the community.
Thank you so much, Director Coderitas. And I just want to say, I think we just had a working session with the City Council on the Landmarks Commission that I brought in the Landmarks Commission last week after our council meeting. And one thing that I think was really important about that session was just one thing that sort of really stuck out to me is the amount of city resources that are used to get us to this point. So I do think any delay in furnishing a study report or any delay in creating the committee just further elongates that process, which I know can be expensive. And I think given that I think even the folks who have testified have not had an issue with the historic preservation element of this. They've had an issue with potentially this hearing and its notice time. I just want to share that to those that may be listening who are not in the city council's chambers all the time, we are completely out of hearing dates. So when this hearing opened up, I really wanted to prioritize the communities and the appointments that were before our committee, and I'm working hard to do everything I can as the committee chair to get everything off of my docket before the end of the session. Many of you know that January 1, many of the dockets wash away, and so we've been working really hard to try to close up and sew up before the holidays everything necessary. So I just want to deeply apologize to anyone who felt like that this was a surprise to them. But given that 2 years ago, a community petition called for this start of this process, I think 2 years later, it's part of like my fiduciary to this duty to the city, and also just my duty as someone who chairs this committee to prioritize the things that that I think deserve prioritizing. So I will try to move these forward at Wednesday's meeting, given all of the testimony and given the fitness of the candidates that have come before the committee today. Joe Cornish, would you like to say anything else?
Yes, thank you. And thank you again for your time, Councillor. We did have 2 candidates who were invited to testify today for other commissions. One was the candidate to fill a vacant alternate position at the Bay Village Historic District Commission, Craig Douglas, and that would be for an alternate position. And then also Peter Sanborn for the South End. He was nominated to serve a resident member position, and they were invited to testify today, and it was considered that possibly that could happen during public testimony.
Yeah, so if they would like to testify before the committee, I just want to note that they wouldn't have formally testified before our committee because we have not noticed those 2 dockets, though I know that Craig Douglas and Peter Sanborn have both been noticed before. So they've already been on dockets. They've already been in here. They've already been noticed on hearings that we've had in the past. So I'm happy to hear them if they would like to publicly testify. Okay. So are they in the waiting room? Do we want to start with Peter?
Yes, I'm bringing them over right now, Madam Chair.
Okay. Hi, Craig, if you'd like to read a statement. Sorry.
Hi.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So my name is Craig Douglas. I'm an architect as well. I've lived in Bay Village since 2019. I'm a member of the Bay Village Neighborhood Association and also a member of the planning group that we have over there. I would say in terms of my experience, originally I was early in my career trained in traditional and classical design. Over the years, I've been practicing for about 30 years. I've worked in, rehabilitation and redevelopment of projects, all sorts of things. More recently, I've been working in the owner's representative category with schools to get highly sustainable buildings built, specifically passive house. And I would say, it's kind of my 2 twin passions. One is, the fabric of Boston is why I moved back to Boston. It's also, that's the character that defines the city. And at the same time, you have to make it livable moving forward, which is, that's where the sustainability component comes into it for me in terms of resilience. Understanding that I'll be an alternate and I'm new to this particular process, I look forward to learning about it. And I would just like to, say thank you to all the counselors who put in the time for this. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Craig. Because these dockets aren't formally noticed, we're not going to ask questions, but appreciate your testimony. Peter Sanborn.
Good morning, Counselor. So my name is Peter Sanborn. I'm a resident of the South End, East Springfield Street in the South End. I've been a resident of the South End since 1977 and a resident of East Springfield Street since 1980. I served as an alternate on the South End Landmark District Commission from 2007 to 2020, and I'm now under consideration as a full member if the appointment is approved. So I'm pretty familiar with the processes of the Landmark District Commission. South End, parenthetically, is, I believe, the most active in terms of applications that are reviewed of any of the Landmark District Commissions in the city. So the workload is generally very heavy. When I served as an alternate, I believe that I was a very conscientious and dedicated. I rarely missed a meeting. My personal belief is if you're appointed to a commission or a committee or something, then it's important that you participate and take that membership very seriously. I, for more than 40 years, was a planning consultant. I was a principal in my own consulting firm with partners. I'm now largely retired since 2020. I am still working part-time. So our consultancy actually was as municipal consultants to smaller communities throughout New England. So I'm actually very aware and attuned to dealing with the public and understand the importance of a government agency being sensitive to public concerns. I love the city. I love the South End. I think I was an effective member, and I look forward to returning if that is the choice of the city council.
Thank you so much, Peter. Given that this wasn't formally noticed, we accept your testimony, but will not be asking questions of you today. So thank you so much.
Okay.
So I want to leave it to my colleagues, Councilors Flynn, Murphy, and if Weber is still here, to see if they have any closing statements.
I have no other question. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy. Councilor Weber? Okay, hearing none, hearing no other questions or statements, I just want to thank both the members of the administration that came forward at the very end to provide some feedback on some of the questions that folks had, but also just really, we heard a lot of compelling stories and profiles of folks who are highly qualified to serve on both the zoning commission, the ZBA, current folks that are currently serving our city, and then obviously this new study report committee to create a committee or study committee for the Monument Square Architectural Conservation District, which I know any new district in the city is a super exciting process. So I'm grateful to all of my colleagues for being here, and also grateful to everyone from the administration who was able to make it. Thank you, Director Koderitis and Joe Cornish, who I know has done such a great job working to help preserve the city, and now Director Koderitis, now coming in after a whole career of preservation. Really exciting to work with both of you. So now we'll close the hearing. I am planning to move forward all of these dockets on Wednesday for our last meeting of the council agenda. So this hearing on dockets 0866, 1694, 1690 through 1704 is adjourned. Thank you.